La endometriosis es una condición ginecológica crónica e inflamatoria que afecta a las mujeres en su edad reproductiva, causándole fuertes dolores en su periodo menstrual, dolor durante la relación sexual y también puede causar infertilidad. La endometriosis afecta a 1 de cada 10 mujeres y eso se estima que son 180 millones de mujeres en el mundo. Sin embargo, no muchos conocen de esta condición y las mujeres afectadas no siempre buscan la ayuda necesaria para lograr un diagnóstico temprano y un tratamiento clínico apropiado, dando así hasta unos 7 y 8 años en tardanza en el diagnóstico. Tenemos que hablar, tenemos que concienciar más sobre esta condición y llevar el mensaje de que la menstruación dolorosa no es normal, para que así más jóvenes, adolescentes, mujeres que se ven impactadas en todas las facetas de su vida puedan conseguir el diagnóstico temprano y el tratamiento adecuado para esta condición.
So for a long time I've been very interested in the consequences of various inflammatory diseases within the body. Inflammation is normally very good for our bodies. It's a protective process to help heal from any kind of insult. However, when inflammation continues, then obviously that leads to problems with functioning. So endometriosis is a chronic inflammatory process. In endometriosis, we find parts of the uterus tissue growing outside where it should. And this can end up causing the patients a lot of problems in terms of symptoms, painful periods, etc. In addition, the patients with endometriosis, as you may be aware, quite often suffer from infertility. This also causes them a lot of stress. We know that stress is a big component of many chronic conditions. Patients with stress, it tends to exacerbate their symptoms. Stress will cause an increase in cortisol release from the adrenal glands, and this is through activation of what's known as the hypothalamic pituitary axis. And this affects various different parts in the body. So you'll get impacts on blood pressure, on heart rate, on the immune system, and all of this will contribute towards the inflammatory process. So we hypothesized that patients with endometriosis, if they were undergoing these stressful episodes during their daily life or activities having to deal with the condition, this could actually exacerbate and make the symptoms of the disease worse. So we were thinking that if stress could activate that hypothalamic pituitary axis, cause that cortisol release, impact the immune system, maybe impact the recruitment of various inflammatory cells, and that to the area where the parts of the uterus are growing outside where they should, perhaps all of this would make it worse. What we decided to do was use an animal model of endometriosis. We use a model in a rat. Basically, we open the animal up and we implant little pieces of the uterine horn inside the animal very close to the blood vessels of the intestine. When we subjected our animals to a stress protocol, basically we put the animals in a little water bath and they swim around. Rats don't really like water, so they find it stressful. We were able to show that the animals that received the stress, either before the induction of endometriosis or afterwards, developed much larger size vesicles, and they also developed more of them. So we were able to show that these animals developed a more severe condition. So conversely, what we then thought was, if stress can make it worse, if we can manage the stress or control it, would that be able to make the condition better? So the way we can give a controllable stress to the animal is that we put it into the pool of water, but the pool has a small platform, so the animal can learn to find that platform and escape from the stressful situation. So we subjected some of our animals to this controllable stress, and we were able to show that yes, if the animals were subjected to controllable stress, the vesicles or the cysts that develop are basically the same as if the animal didn't have any stress. So then, thinking of this in terms of how is that useful for the patient population, can we some way manage the stress in the patients? We know that There's a lot of literature out there right now about the benefits of stress management in terms of learning relaxation techniques, mindfulness therapy, things like that. We have ability now that, try and get outside into the fresh air, change your environment, build up a strong social support system. So to look at this in the animals, we basically use a model that's known as environmental enrichment. And this means that we put animals that were normally in perhaps a small cage by itself in a larger cage with another animal, with various different types of nesting materials, various things that kind of keep them occupied. So we're changing their environments and we're enriching them. And what we were able to show that those animals which had the endometriosis, which were put in those enriched environments, they also had much smaller vesicles or cysts. So it helped improve the symptoms in those animals. So in a similar kind of manner then now for this study, what we want to do is using a controlled trial, then recruit patients, and we will be giving them this kind of environmental enrichment, but more in terms of the social interactions with other patients, with group support, and things like yoga, learning mindfulness techniques, breathing, things like that. So it's going to be very exciting for us to see if this will actually happen, because so far the results in the laboratory in an animal, which of course is not the same as a patient, have been very, very promising.
Basado en los estudios que llevó a cabo la doctora Caroline Appleyard en su laboratorio en la Ponce Health Sciences University, vimos una oportunidad de tener un impacto en la calidad de vida y en la percepción de dolor en mujeres con endometriosis, ya que vimos que había un impacto positivo de una intervención conductual conocida como enriquecimiento ambiental en las ratitas con endometriosis. Pensamos que pudiéramos llevar ese mismo tipo de intervención a las mujeres. Esta idea ahora está financiada por los Institutos Nacionales de la Salud, quienes nos han dado los fondos que necesitamos para llevar a cabo un estudio clínico conductual en el cual vamos a estar reclutando mujeres con endometriosis para las cuales, a pesar de estar en tratamiento ya sea hormonal o quirúrgico, no han podido lograr una ayuda efectiva ante los síntomas como el dolor. Así que invitamos a estas pacientes a que nos llamen, se comuniquen con nuestro centro de investigación en la Ponce Health Sciences University al 840-2575, extensión 2192, en donde les vamos a poder hablar un poquito más sobre la oportunidad de participar en una intervención en las cuales vamos a probar la efectividad de unas estrategias de manejo de estrés, exposición a lugares abiertos y naturales, y además grupos de apoyo, y ver cómo esto en conjunto, integralmente, pueden ayudar a aliviar la percepción del dolor y también aumentar su calidad de vida. Esta intervención se estará llevando a cabo en los meses de enero a marzo del 2020. Serían 6 sábados en donde vamos a estar exponiendo a las pacientes a esta intervención integral que esperamos que sea de gran beneficio y podemos probar, ¿verdad?, que en conjunto con el tratamiento convencional ginecológico pueda lograr tener una efectividad mayor. Las invitamos a que se comuniquen con nosotros y también a que visiten a las páginas de la Fundación Puertorriqueña de Pacientes con Endometriosis, que son nuestros aliados en la investigación, al www.endometriosispr.com, y también estamos en Facebook como Fundación Puertorriqueña de Pacientes con Endometriosis.